Welcome back. This is Brian G, the EV OG. One of the things that I've come to really appreciate about EVs is the fact that they are computers on wheels. Many, if not most, EVs receive over-the-air software updates that improve your experience over the course of your ownership. And for those of us who follow the EV landscape pretty closely, we recognize that when it comes to the software defined stack within an EV, there are probably three leaders in the software game right now. Without question, one of those is Tesla. Another leader, and I would say either a close second or perhaps the new leader, is Rivian. And I'll come back to that. I'd probably give third place or the bronze medal to the Android automotive that GM, Volvo, Polestar, and so on. Now, I'm based here in the US, and so that's the perspective from which I'm coming at this. I know that there are a number of Chinese and other global EV producers that also have really good software. I'm just not super familiar with those. And so, based on the landscape here in the US, those are the top three. We've now had 8 EVs in the last 11 and a half years. Last year, just before Mother's Day, last year being 2023, we picked up Valkyrie. This is our 2023 Rivian R1T quad motor. It's not the launch edition, but it's a relatively early VIN. And this has been by far the best EV that we've ever owned. A lot of it has to do with the software stack within this vehicle. And I wanted to make this video today because I finally got the notification that Rivian has pushed the latest software release to our Rivian R1T. Before I went ahead and did that install, I wanted to spend some time reviewing the current software version that we're on. So let me turn this thing around and give you a walkthrough of our current software release. Then I'll go ahead and run the install and give you a sense of how different this new software .19.04 update is. This is something I've been looking forward to for a while in terms of some of the features contained therein. So let's have a look. All right, so starting with the driver's display, as you can see, as with most driver displays these days, it's divided into 3 sections, right? The far left, in this case, has a turn-by-turn map feature. The center is essentially vehicle information. And the far right is the driver controls. Down at the bottom there, you've got vehicle status. We're in kneel mode currently since I'm parked, and we've got 143 miles of range indicated at 44%. We do have the ability to change that left side to show efficiency. Unfortunately, it only shows you efficiency for the last 15 minutes or so of driving, but it does provide a bit of an efficiency graph there. I can hit that again, and it will give me details of our tire pressure sensors in terms of current PSI. So those are the 3 functions on that left side, and we can scroll through those. Coming over here to the main screen, I am right now in the navigation screen, but if I recenter this, that's what the typical view looks like. And the menu here is fairly straightforward. We've got icons on top to lock and unlock the vehicle. We've got vehicle quick controls there. On the other side of this menu are some other shortcuts. Continuing on here, we've got driver indication there. That's based on phone as key. We've got access to our gear guard cameras. That is the garage door control. This is Alexa. There she goes. And then we've got some alerts here. All right, so on the other side, we've got here is our hotspot. We've got Bluetooth. We've got the vehicle's ability to connect to Wi-Fi networks. Obviously, once we get home, it will automatically connect to our network there. We've got temperature, we've got 4G LTE status, and the time. And you can see the layout here gives us the ability to use a terrain view or just a generic map view. I much prefer the terrain view here. And we can ask it to show us charge location information. And this one gives us the ability to go in and navigate settings. All right, we will come out of that for now. We've got the compass in the top left. Along the bottom, we've got HVAC controls. And that's what that screen currently looks like. You've got controls for the front, controls for the back, and also with our controls here, as you can see, we've got heated steering wheel, heated seating, and cooled seating, or ventilated cooled seating. The rest of our controls for HVAC, whether we want to sync them or have separate temperatures, all of those are controlled here. And we've got pet comfort as well as the ability to precondition on a scheduled basis. All right, so that's in essence the first screen here. Again, you can see we've got quick controls down here. Here we've got our music controls, and we've got everything from a regular radio to Spotify to TuneIn, Tidal, that A character again, as well as Bluetooth streaming from my phone. And then we've got the equalizer here, which comes with a number of presets that you can just pick if you don't want to tune that directly yourself. All right, so that's audio. My favorite thing about this vehicle is the drive modes. And as you can see here, I'm in all-purpose mode. Sport mode is a ton of fun. Now, I mentioned before that this is the quad motor vehicle, which means we've got a motor powering each of the four wheels. And this vehicle produces 835 horsepower, over 900 foot-pounds of torque. So just insanely over-engineered and highly performant. But this is all going to change when we load the new software. But as you can see, we've got regen, stability, as well as the ride feel, which can go from moderate to soft all the way over to a firm ride. I've got it in Goldilocks mode there. We can go from all-purpose to conserve, and what conserve does is it disconnects the two rear motors, making the vehicle essentially front-wheel drive. It also tends to lower the ride height on this vehicle. So not something I use very often, if at all, but I do like going to sport mode, which really drops the vehicle into a very low setting and stiffens the ride so that it performs very much like a sports car. And as you can see, it's a pretty basic layout here, and we'll see how this compares in the new software. There's also a snow mode. So those are your on-road drive modes. We've also got off-road drive mode. So let me go ahead and say go off-road. There's the graphic for off-road all-terrain mode. But then we've got the ability to go from there to this mode. Yes, lower. That is rock crawl. And notice it said hold is turned off. So there's our rock crawl mode. This one is soft sand. You can see what the graphic looks like there. And notice down here, it actually changes to indicate what mode we're in. This should be rally. And finally, this is our drift mode. We do have the trailer mode, which I did try. If you haven't seen that video, I will go ahead and leave a link for it where we towed our camper, our 4,000-pound camper, 188 miles up to West Virginia from our home in Maryland. So again, I'll leave the link to that, but there's your trailer mode. And if we go back to on-road, you'll notice that Rivian also gives us a ton of detail about what's going on in the vehicle. In addition to compass, we've got an elevation indication, and then we've got temperatures for batteries as well as motors. And then we've got our trip computers, as well as, again, here we can see our tire pressure. All right, so we've done navigation, music, drive modes. This is our camera stack. The default setting goes to this 360 overhead view. We have the ability to toggle cameras, right? It started out with the front view. Now we've got the lower rear view, and there is the bed view, which is an even higher definition camera. The other thing that you can do besides going from front to rear to bed is if you hit this, it will now give you what I like to call the curb view. So that's a look at my curb view in the rear wheels on the left and over here on the right. Now if I come back here and hit this guy again, now I get the same curb view for my front, left, and right wheels. So really appreciate how well that is done. All right, so pretty straightforward camera stack there. Flipping up like this, we get into our energy menu. There's what it looks like. Gives an indication of current energy, range based on snow. So let me come back in here, get out of snow mode, and put it back into all-purpose. Now, one of the things that perhaps wasn't super evident is that as you change drive modes, there we go. In all-purpose, it's indicating 143 miles at 44% state of charge. But if I go to conserve, you'll see that update to 157 miles at 44%, right? Because we're in two-wheel drive. Now, if I go to sport, you'll see it now come back down even lower to 141 at 44% state of charge. So just real intelligent the way that that works. All right, I'm going to put it back into all purpose. And you may not be able to see this, but the ride height is also adjusting with each of those setting changes. All right, so let's come back here to the energy graph we were looking at. Again, I can open charge port from here. More indication of energy related items. All right, I've got my charge limit set to 80. I can toggle my outlets on and off. From here, I can schedule charging and I can change amperage. This is also nice in that as you're charging, it gives you a sense of how the energy coming into the vehicle is being used. So the last session was 48 kilowatt hours added over the course of 6 hours and 47 minutes. Pretty slow level 2 charger that we've got out here, but 46.9 of those kilowatt hours went into the battery pack. None of it went into cabin and battery. 1 kilowatt hour went to what the system is calling accessories. So the only accessory I could think of would be Gear Guard, which is the security system where the car uses its camera stack to monitor the vehicle's surroundings. So really good information here in our energy menu. We've got phone, that's pretty straightforward. We've got the Gear Guard. And this is really good. It's also a good place to point out that when we picked up the vehicle at the factory in normal, which was an amazing experience, by the way. They picked us up at the airport in an R1S, drove us to the factory, and gave us a factory tour, gave us some refreshments. Then they took us over to their delivery center to sign the paperwork and take delivery of this R1T. But this isn't something that we had available at the time. I think within a week or so of picking up our truck was when they pushed an over-the-air software update to add the Gear Guard feature set. So it provides a drive cam. There's also incidents. There's also a motion cam. This is Rivian's streaming video capabilities that are coming to the vehicle. Not in this release I'm about to install, but hopefully shortly thereafter, we should see the ability to use Google Cast from your mobile device to the screen, as well as native YouTube app support were the two items that were announced. That's the Gear Guard feature set. Next is camp mode. And this is going to look significantly different when we install 19.04. Camp mode essentially gives you the ability to turn on some courtesy features that make for a better camping experience. And it also gives you the ability to use the air suspension of the vehicle to level the interior of the truck when parked on uneven surfaces. So let's definitely keep an eye on what this looks like now versus what it will look like after our software update. We've got the owner's manual, which can be accessed here as well. And the last item here is the settings menu. Now, before I go ahead and run the software update, if I put on my turn signal, you can see what that looks like. You'll see why that becomes relevant when we load our new software version. Let's go to updates, and we will install it now. Vehicle will be unusable for the next 50 minutes. All right, I think I'm ready. So I've got 2 minutes to get my stuff and get out. That's a look at our current software release. I'm going to go ahead now and run the install so that we can get this puppy upgraded to our latest version of software. Well, that took a little bit longer than expected, but we now have our latest software update. And stepping back into the vehicle, I am greeted with a message here indicating that Rivian is introducing blind spot view. This is a feature that's about a year late, but better late than never. I've seen Kia and Hyundai vehicles with this feature set in the driver's display for a while now. Obviously, Tesla's got it, but it's not in the driver's display. So to have this here is a huge win. So very much looking forward to that. Now, what I also like is the fact that they're giving you the option of turning that off. If for some reason you find it distracting or don't like it, you can go ahead and turn it off in settings. All right, so I got it. So there we go. System update successful. Let's see what's new. All right, so let's quickly scroll through new features. Refreshed visual interface with 3D cell shading. That's the capabilities that are powered by the Unreal Engine. I can already see the result of that here. Number one, this is framed versus just blended in as it appeared in the prior software release. The look of the vehicle is powered by Unreal Engine, so it almost looks like a video game vehicle. So what else do we have here? Live camera view added to the blind spot monitoring, so that's the turn signal camera we just saw. Climate control improvements, we'll look at that in a second. New suspension software for better ride comfort, so I'll have to see how noticeable that is when driving. Options for automatic software updates, improved Google Map search, as well as a number of additional improvements. So if I come back to my home screen, this looks pretty much the same as what we saw earlier. Lock, unlock. Let me see if anything's new with our quick controls. Not on this screen. How about this one with the shortcuts? Nope, everything looks the same there. Our top menu remains the same. Looks like I need to turn this back on. Get the hotspot going. All right, there we go. All right, so that looks the same. How about music? All right, those controls are largely unchanged. I think this is where we'll see the biggest difference. All right, so looking at this, we can see the Real Engine graphics with the windmill back there actually rotating. How cool is that? There's also a slightly different layout here with just on-road, off-road, and trailers are indicated with a graphic versus text. So there's all-purpose. If I go to conserve, what does that look like? There we go. And we can actually hear and feel the vehicle lower just then. And we've got a couple more windmills going. Absolutely loving this. If we look at sport mode, puts the graphic of a racetrack setting is what that looks to be. And how about snow mode? There we go. Puts it into a heavy snow environment there with the graphics. And I can hear the suspension raising and lowering itself based on how these driving modes are set up. How about off-road? Yes, let's go ahead and go off-road. All-terrain. That's what that looks like. Interesting graphics there with the fireflies. And we can actually move this image around a little bit. Okay, let's look at rock crawl. Soft sand. There we go. Rally. Finally, drift. And there's our drift mode. All right. And we've got trailers with Fiona saved. And all of the details that we need. And the ability to add more trailers as well as accessories. All right, let's go back to on-road, all-purpose mode, and my typical driving setting. Now, this is what our nerd level 9000 view looks like. It's got a dark theme to it. So we've done that, we've done that. About our cameras, nothing's really appeared to have changed here with cameras. About our energy menu, yep, pretty much the same information here. All right. Gear guard, pretty much the same. We still have our gear guard video there. So nothing's really changed with that. Camp mode, this should be interesting. There we go. Beautiful graphics there of a campfire setting. How awesome is that? Rivian branded tent. We've got fireflies again in a couple of different places here. Just doing the most here with our graphics, owner's manual, settings. This stuff looks to be pretty much the same as what we looked at before. All right, so one of the things that I definitely want to make sure you see is that when I put the vehicle into drive and turn on the turn signal, I get the side repeater camera there giving me a look at what's in my blind spot. If I switch to the right blinker, I get the right side. So this is a feature that I could not wait for. It's finally here, and I cannot wait to try it and so many other new features and just the look and feel now powered by Unreal Engine. Another area we should see some significant difference is here in our HVAC controls. And as you can see, the layout here is a little bit different. We can turn on and off our left and right side mirror defrosters. And we've also got an orientation here such that the driver can access this to do whatever he or she needs to do. And the passenger now, instead of having to reach all the way over here, right, when they click on this, it pops up the menu on the passenger side so that the passenger can do what they need to do from an HVAC standpoint. We also have presets here in terms of how you want your vents set up, right? So I can actually go ahead and save this, and I know one of the other settings that I would want to have would be to continue to have this one here, but to have these guys turned off, right? Sometimes I'll have my iPad down in this area, and so I don't want these vents to be on. So that'll be my B setting. And just to give you a sense of what it looks like to control temperature settings in the back row, as well as seat heaters in the rear. Right. Front, and there's the back. All right, so thanks for joining me for this walkthrough of our old and new software versions here with our Rivian R1T. I've obviously got to spend some more time with our new software release to get to know it, but thought I'd take a few minutes and share with you guys what we were transitioning from and to, just to really illustrate and underscore Rivian's prowess in terms of software development and continuing to enhance these vehicles. I think last week's announcement of a $5 billion investment by Volkswagen speaks volumes in terms of how the market, how the industry sees what Rivian is doing, and hopefully this gave you a chance to see it up close and personal. So thanks again for joining me. If you found this useful, please share it. If you've got questions, leave them in the comments below. Please be sure to like the video, and I'll look forward to having you join me on the next one.